revenge.
Is this what our future holds? Always running.
Together, we can destroy the Empire. The Emperor wants you dead.
Maul.
This is Rebel Force Radio's Maul, Shadow Lord, After Show.
All right, here we go. Rebel Force Radio, back with more Maul. Maul, Shadow Lord, looking at episodes 3 and 4 here, breaking them all down for you. And not just for you, with you. As we often say here, we are fellow travelers on this adventure. We didn't get sent to some fancy junket. We didn't get links to 8 out of the 10 episodes, so we know before you what's happening. No, sir. This is real time. And that's a big part of what these after shows are about. It's sort of creating a time capsule in some ways for the fandom of the future as they look back and say, hey, what was the pulse of fandom when this happened or that happened? It really is the case that, as you know, I was at the tail end of that original generation of Star Wars fans, and even I get asked all the time by some younger fans about what was it like when this and when that happened, and how did people react to that? Oh, you were there for the prequels when they came out, all that stuff. So anyway, that's a big part of what we're doing here on Rebel Force Radio, and particularly these live after shows. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us, joining us tonight. We know that this is appointment viewing, watching for a lot of you, and we do appreciate you setting some time aside to be with us here at RFR. And by us, I should introduce us if introductions are in order and you're new to the program. My name is Jason, and with me, as always, my good friend and yours from Chicago, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. Hey, Maul Rats. Remember, I was practicing that intro on the weekly RFR last week. Hey, Maul Rats. How's that going over? Do you guys like that? Maul Rats? Do you Maul Rats like being called Maul Rats?
I like it.
It's a word.
I like it.
It's all that matters, Jason, is that you like it. I have a few loose ends from last week.
Oh, you do?
Remember when we started going down the rabbit hole talking about the mundane moments and how we really wanted to see a more fantasy type element being added or being prioritized, I should say, in some Star Wars stuff. We've just noted more and more earthbound environments and characters. And so I threw out a challenge to our listeners and I said, find me any moment in the George Lucas Star Wars that compares to the earthbound nature of a lot of the places and environments we've been seeing in current Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Places like the Janix police station, etc. And I really thought I had
stadium this week.
How about that? Yeah, right. So, and imagine, being a kid and having that sort of facility to play your amateur game in. That was pretty impressive. I'm sorry, but it was impressive. But when you live on an overpopulated planet or an overpopulated city in a crater, I guess everybody all goes to the same events and everything. The whole population shows up. So naturally, it's a large stadium. But I threw out the challenge. Find me a moment in the George Lucas produced Star Wars that has an earthly scene, an earthbound environment. And because I was scraping my mind trying to think what really stands out. The Mos Eisley Cantina, yes, and the Mos Eisley Cantina, no. It's very exotic. It's super exotic. But I'll tell you what, our VIP, Dominique, he stepped up and he came up with a good one, and I can't debate it. And he wrote in. So in the end, Jimmy challenged us to find an earthly scene from George Lucas. I accept the challenge and propose Dex's Diner. Dex's Diner is very earthbound. It's a very earthbound environment.
Wow.
What do you think?
I think that's a good one.
I think that's a good one.
I
So I
think that's a good one. The only thing I would say is Dex being such a fixture in the diner. I mean, we're not talking about Mel Sharples here. We're talking about a four-armed, what is he, four-armed, six-armed guy. You had droids running around. They were wearing I think one of the droids was even wearing the little paper hat though, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of quintessential 50s diner.
It was
she on roller skates?
Okay, so outside of the occupants of the diner,
Yeah.
the diner itself was just
you're
very
100%
much-
right. You take the occupants out. That, in fact, not only is that a diner, a la 1950s, early 1960s, it's actually like almost like a theme park version of it because it's so glossy and new and shiny. So it's kind of an idealized version of it, which makes it even worse in a way.
right, like something right out of Disney Hollywood Studios.
There you
or
go.
something.
There you
You
go.
go in there
Forearms.
and
Dex
pay
has forearms.
$25. Go in there and pay $25 for a stale pretzel that's in the shape of Mickey Mouse's head, or at least that's what they tell you.
That's
All right,
a
and
good
then
one.
some-
And you know
one
what?
other
I would
news-
say too, I would just throw out, since we're, throwing rocks at Attack of the Clones, that the Outlander Club also is, looks like it could be, I don't know, any, posh nightclub setting. Again, when you remove the occupants.
Maybe.
So maybe George was just flying a little too earthbound with episode 2, because the cantina, it's not just the occupants. It's the whole setup of the bar and the droid heads, and everything just has kind of a close but not too close thing. And that's what just was so good about what George was able to do, was he was able to take a common idea and just twist it enough that it felt otherworldly, with the exception of Texas Diner, as we're learning here this week.
Well, that was just very earthbound. It's like
Yeah.
something right out of American Graffiti or something.
Yeah.
So that's one loose end.
Mhm.
Another loose end is, I remember near the end of the show, someone threw out in the chat, they mentioned that Brander Lawson had a past as a bounty hunter. And
That's
we
right.
both kind of shot it down because nothing like that was mentioned in the show. But in the Marvel comic, Shadow of Maul, it is revealed in some dialogue that Brander Lawson had a past as a bounty hunter. It's when Chief Kleiss is chewing him out for something. And she says, "Your bounty hunting days are over." So there,
Wait a minute.
but I had to go look back at it. Yes.
They buried
We reported
his
it.
backstory.
We reported it on the show too.
I remember we did. We covered. Was it in that first issue? Because there's been a second issue.
Yes.
So it was
Yep,
in the
first
first issue. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to defend you a little bit here, even though you were sort of the one that took that on here to look into, read that comic and report back to us. But no, I just think that's a little much to put that. That's a fairly important detail about a lawman's backstory. Like, couldn't we have gotten that in a little dialogue in the first or second episode? That would have been helpful.
Well, something tells me it'll come into play.
Okay.
It'll come into play somehow in
All
the
right.
series.
So we'll know when it's required to know. It's on a need to know basis.
Yeah. It just hasn't come up yet in the first 4 episodes.
All right. Well,
Or it hasn't come into play. Yeah.
I got to say, before we get into the specifics of these next 2 episodes, and that's a nice transition into it, for the most part, there's 2 things that really stand out to me with this show after having seen episodes 3 and 4. Because with episodes 1 and 2, you think, all right, where are we going to go from here? Is Devin going to find her way back to her Jedi Master, and then maybe they'll go off and we won't see them for another episode, and episode 3 will all be about some particular heist that Maul's gang is trying to achieve, and that we'll get into that sort of cadence of very episodic Filoni animation, which we saw with Clone Wars, we saw with Rebels, we saw with Bad Batch, sort of that adventure of the week. Sure, there's a thread that goes through, but what we've seen so far with Disney animation is very episodic storytelling This is serialized, Jim. This now we know we go into episode 3 and we've been in episode 4. We're 40% of the way through the first season. We are definitely not looking at adventure of the week kind of stuff. That's number one. The second thing I want to mention is that one of our big complaints, and I think you've been able to, whether it be Ahsoka particularly, I think you've really been able to articulate this well, is that you're tired of being told important stuff and not shown important stuff. And I think this show is doing a great job of not telling us stuff, but showing us stuff. It's showing us that there's a Padawan apprentice relation or Padawan master relationship between Master Daki and Devin. It's showing us where Maul is psychologically and in terms of power in the galaxy and all of that. So I'm really happy to see that this show seems to be, one, serialized, and two, really showing us stuff and not just referring to things off screen.
Yeah, that's a good point. Great observation. And it has been sort of frustrating with the rhythm of Star Wars storytelling when it seems like the most interesting stuff is happening off screen. How about letting us fans actually in on the story for once? Well, it appears the Maul show is doing that, and it's doing it in real time. None of this mystery box, inside out, half-assed, backwards-assed storytelling. This is straightforward. This is a straightforward, linear story. We know exactly when it happens in the timeline. We do, unfortunately, know the outcome of Darth Maul and his eventual fate. Should we believe that that's how Darth Maul actually died? Wouldn't that be interesting if they threw a curveball? They reveal that Maul survived that. And
wasn't that George's intention? Had George gone on to do 789 as designed, he would have had to have retconned that.
He was living in Kenobi's hut with Ben Kenobi all the way through the entire original trilogy, sitting there waiting for Ben to come back.
Oh, it was maybe he was in that trunk.
Yeah, talk about the odd couple.
And then I wanted to have this when Darth Maul, there he is.
Right. And he just happened to be away on a visit to Dathomir that one week when Ben stumbled across Luke Skywalker sprawled out in the desert after taking a whooping from some sand people. Yeah, Maul just happened to be out of town.
Tusken Raiders, Jim. Tusken Raiders. We don't say sand people.
I do. I say sand people. I don't say sand person. That's where I draw the line.
Good to have limits.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you want to start talking standards? I refuse to call an individual Tusken Raider a sand person. And I damn near slapped Billy Mack right in the face when he did that one day.
Really?
Yeah. At a convention center too, in front of people. And the main reason why I didn't slap him in the face is because I was pretty concerned he would slap me back. So, and I didn't want that, bloody nose at the convention center. You know how that is.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Sure.
So, okay. So I'm taking us into some weird directions. This is true. And I'm just doing it to get some stuff out of my system before we really get down and dirty and serious about breaking down these 2 episodes of Maul. But before we do that, I have a couple of announcements to make. Number one, there's not going to be a weekly RFR this week, unfortunately. So we hope to be bringing you 2 shows every week throughout the rest of the run for Maul. But this week, it's Maul After Show, and that's it. Now, if you're a supporter of RFR on Patreon at patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio, you'll get a few other shows. You'll get RFR Q&A with Peter Beiser. No one nicer than RFR VIP Peter Beiser. And we sit down and we discuss. He really puts the questions and answers into the Q&A this week. And he asked me all these handpicked questions about life and Star Wars. And, life questions and Star Wars questions. And then he asks himself similar questions. So when it's all done kind of blindly, and we go to some interesting places with this conversation.
So it's very free form? And so no real topic?
Very free form.
Okay.
No. It's all just, he has these questions like, on a deck of cards, and he just starts asking me these questions. And then he has these Star Wars questions. And he asked me, and then he'll ask himself a different question. It's crazy. It's crazy,
right.
but it was a longer podcast, and the time just flew by. So I like that guy a lot, and he's an RFR VIP. You can be an RFR VIP too, and you can host an episode of RFR Q&A with me if you support Rebel Force Radio on Patreon at patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. You'll find bonus podcasts, early bird ad-free releases, full show video, and so much more at patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. One other thing I got to tell you, since we're not doing a weekly show, I have to remind everybody, because I promised our friends at the Forced Moon Festival that I would give weekly updates on all of the cool things that are happening with the festival. And since we're talking about Darth Maul, we're talking Maul after show, I think it's a good idea that we talk about the fact that the Forced Moon Festival is having as a special guest VIP writer and co-creator of Maul Shadow Lord, Matt Michnovitz. He'll be at the Forest Moon Festival this year. Matt was not only the writer and co-creator of Maul Shadow Lord, he has also written and developed for all sort of Star Wars animation over the years, from Clone Wars to Rebels to Bad Batch to Tales of the Underworld, Tales of the Empire, Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. And he is the man with the plan when it comes to Darth Maul. He'll be doing a free Q&A panel at Sequoia Park, not at the zoo, but at the park itself on Saturday, the Saturday of the fest. The festival dates are May 28th through May 31st. So this would be Saturday, May 30th. He'll be making a special appearance at Sequoia Park in Eureka, California. He'll be making an appearance at the Forest Fest at the zoo after the panel at the park. He'll also be in the VIP area outside the Redwood Coast Museum of Cinema. We love that place. During the Friday night market in the Old Town Eureka. There'll be a few other locations where he and the other celebrities like Kyle Newman and Kevin Thompson, where you'll be able to find those guys. All you have to do is go to the website to get all the updates and know where all the celebrities are at. That is forestmoonfestival.org, forestmoonfestival.org. Meet the showrunner of Maul Shadow Lord. And really cool. It's real laid back and casual too. So you can, if you find yourself at the right place at the right time, you could probably corner Matt and pick his brain for hours. That's what I would do.
You're welcome, Matt. It's an open invitation from Jimmy Mack at Rebel Force Radio.
Right. Yeah, the RFR guy said, damn it. But Matt will be a good guy, and you will be able to ask him questions as long as Kyle Newman isn't there talking. Right. Because you can never get in a question when Kyle's there. But because Kyle always has interesting things to say. So celebrate Star Wars in the area.
Those two guys together? I mean, it would be worth just sitting there listening to Kyle and Matt rap back and forth about Star Wars. So,
yeah. ForceMoonFestival.org.
All right, gang, let's get into it. This week, we got two banger episodes. Give you a little tale of the tape here. Episode 3, Whispers in the Unknown, directed by Stuart Lee, written by Julia Cooperman. Comes in at about 21 minutes of story time, followed right away by Pride and Vengeance, directed by Nate Villanueva and written by Amanda Rose Munoz. Both episodes having that episode, by the way, episode 4, just a little bit over 22 minutes. Two shorties this week. Both episodes, of course, premiering on April 13th, 2026, for those of you listening in the future. And Jim, as I mentioned, I was really relieved and pleased when episode 3 started, and it wasn't just setting up. I really was thinking that it was possible that it was just going to set up a sort of standalone episode where maybe we'd have to spend an episode or two with maybe just the Shadow Syndicate and the Pikes. And we might see Lawson coming in at the last minute. I'm going to get you guys. Like one of those things. But we didn't. I mean, this thing really took off, And what a confrontation right out of the gate between our new heroine, maybe soon to be Darksider, Devin Indara, and Darth Maul. And it wasn't necessarily
Indara is from Acolyte.
Is that what I can't? Izara.
Yeah.
Devin.
I think you've done that before too. Yeah.
I'm going to and I'm going to continue to do it, just so you know.
Of course,
of
course you will. And I will continue to correct you.
Devin Izara. Man, these names. Anyway, so the battle was fought both with fists, with lightsabers, with kicks, with shimmies, as well as tea.
Shimmies.
As well as tea.
I love that at the Jedi Temple when all the Padawans gathered together to be trained in the art of the shimmy, the Force shimmy. By Master
Yoda.
Yoda.
They do that, when I could identify it if need be. But at any rate, so yes, and at the beginning of all of this, when she finds herself free and she gets that little nod from Rootcast, like, okay, you passed the test, go into the master's chambers, and she finds him and he's very refined. A lot of symbolism, seen that online, where people are talking about this particular type of tea sharing ceremony. Apparently, Sam Witwer himself was involved in such a ceremony and likely brought this element to the show. So, hey, we're taking phone calls. So if you want to call in and talk about tea, by all means, do that. But I want to get right to the action, because what I like about this confrontation, there's one line that really struck out at me, is where basically, I'm going to paraphrase here, where Maul is saying, maybe I'm different than you were expecting, but I am capable of being that other guy. Is a very, very cool line of dialogue. And throughout this whole thing, Jim, this is sort of the main question I want to get at with you and with our listeners, is the Sith, when they are in full seduction mode. And I know, okay, I'm going to use the term Sith when I'm talking about Darth Maul, and people go, he's not a Sith. I get he doesn't have the Darth title, all that. But all the guy knows in terms of his use of the Force and his seducing an apprentice is coming from his teachings as a Sith. Right. So I'm going to use that term because it's very, I think, on model with what we've seen in the past. Is what often happens with these Sith Lords as they are seducing someone to the dark side is they use the brutal, honest truth. We saw it happen with Vader and Luke on Cloud City. We saw it happen with Dooku and Obi-Wan on Geonosis. And here we see it again with Darth Maul and Devin. Where is he really lying to Devin throughout any of this? To me, this all smacks of 100% absolute truth. So I guess the question is, what do you do with that truth, eh?
Yeah, well, if you're a Sith or a dark side user, you will twist that truth around to fit your benefit. And that's what's happening here with Maul. He's trying to come across as some sort of compassionate darksider. And he says to her, as he's trying to inspect the wound on her wrist, he says, I suppose concern for your well-being doesn't fit with what you've been told about me, but I invite you to look more closely. As if he is this compassionate guy who's, he's what's her name? The nurse, Nightingale or whatever.
Florence Nightingale?
Florence Nightingale, right. No, he only cares about keeping his potential Padawan, his potential future Padawan, in good shape so she can work and carry out his will to the best of her ability. So it's almost like inspecting your car just to make sure that the tires are all filled up and everything like that. He doesn't have compassion. He's just putting up a front. He doesn't care. He's Darth Maul, but he does drink tea now, Cassius tea. I wonder if that title, the what they call the T, is anything significant. StarWars.com said Maul was introduced to Cassius T by Pre Vizsla,
Oh,
who
yeah.
believed the tea was good for one's health. But I don't recall if that, I didn't go back and look at the Clone Wars episodes. What?
No. The idea that we've gotten to the point where Star Wars fans are talking about, well, there Pre Vizsla said it was good for one's health, and then all
I'm
these
just
years
reading
later, it's no. I'm not faulting you for reading it at all. What I'm saying is, it's embarrassing a little bit to me that this even is a thing, like this even exists.
I get it. But I was just wondering, it piqued my curiosity. Is there a scene in the Clone Wars during those Mandalorian takeover episodes with Maul, like the Lawless, if there is a scene where Pre Vizsla hands Darth Maul a cup of tea? Would you like a cuppa?
I hear
Yeah,
there
I know
is.
it sounds.
I hear there
You
is.
see,
a
now
scene.
I'm hearing myself talk. Now I'm hearing myself talk, and I'm starting to see what you mean, Jason. I kind of just
No,
I think I threw up in my mouth a little bit.
I think it's a
But
great.
I'm
No, I
just
think it's a
wondering.
good question to call out. I believe there is a scene in Clone Wars where you actually see the tea being shared between Maul and Pre Vizsla.
Yeah,
I
it does
can't-
say.
Yeah.
Jeff Holland says Pre Viz did drink the tea the first time he met Maul. Oh, and then we have tea ceremony is a samurai tradition. So what? I'm so sick of everything being justified for Star Wars just because it has some samurai connection. I'm getting so tired of that. It's this kind of justification of anything that happens. Lightsaber to the gut. Oh, that happens in samurai movies. Come on. It's lame.
Well, but the larger view of using this tea is that it's a great symbol of being civilized, being generous, and it's the last thing that you would expect a character like a Darth Maul to offer a prisoner, quote unquote, who just found their way out. So I'm not crapping on the scene or the use of the tea. It's just like you say, when people go and they start justifying it, and and Pre Vizsla used this. Was it a different blend of tea? Was he more of an Earl Grey man? I mean, it's just like, where does it end? So I love the dichotomy of the tea on the one hand, and then the saber battle that we get into very, very quickly. So the negotiation here, or the conversation, ends fairly quickly as she takes Darth Maul's lightsaber, which just happened to be placed within view, almost as if Maul had a feeling that maybe it was going to come down to this. So she grabs the lightsaber, kind of reminded me a little bit of Luke grabbing the lightsaber from Palpatine's throne there in Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, Maul never loses his cool with Devin. We do see him lose his cool a little bit in episode 4 against Master Daki, but we never see him lose his cool with Devin. Jim, do you think that the lightsaber was placed there kind of conveniently to tempt her in this situation?
Well, of course it was. I think Maul traditionally keeps his double-bladed lightsaber intact, together, connected. So, he took them apart for a reason, kept one on his belt and put that one there right on the table, tantalizing to
want
seduce her.
this, don't
Yeah,
you?
it's that sort of thing. He's taunting her the whole way. He's testing her. Of course, the classic lightsaber put down is to take on your opponent with one hand. We see Vader do it.
Oh yeah.
We see Vader do it originally in Empire Strikes Back, and then we're seeing Maul do it here.
Yeah.
But Maul does it with his other hand behind the back too. Just that's put a little more salt in the wound, you know. Sure, I'll take my one hand, and I'll even take my other hand and put it behind my back. What do you think about that?
Right. I'm surprised he didn't start juggling with the other hand, you know, just to continue to make it more embarrassing for her.
Taunting, intimidation, and testing. That's the three T's of this moment as far as Maul's perspective goes. He wants to see what this kid's made of, but he also understands that even at her best, she's never going to be a challenge for him, at least in this moment.
Right. No, definitely not. In fact, our I think this was our episode art for this week, where that's a good one, where he's totally relaxed. She's kind of giving it everything she's got, and he's just barely placing the saber over her blade to block it. So we've got this calm, this control, this philosophical Maul, but he there's another line that I love in this whole confrontation, and this is where I think he really started to pick the scab on Devin, and that's when he says, "You crave your unfulfilled destiny." And that is Maul's rage and what Maul wants. I mean, in a nutshell. I mean, Maul is really, at the end of the day, upset that his birthright and his destiny was taken from him. So it's all been about trying to find a way to get back to that destiny of greatness and power. But again, he's not lying to her. The Jedi are gone. The galaxy has completely changed. Surviving requires adaptation, not loyalty. And she does want something more. She wants that unfulfilled destiny. It's unfair. She's trained since as long as she can remember for this. And to have it all wiped away and have some old dude just tell her that, you know, they got to keep running and climbing in and out of sewer grates and they have to starve and they have to, you know, I mean, really, what choice at the end of the day, what choice does this kid have?
Yeah. And as we're introduced to her in the first episode, we're seeing that she's already at the end of the rope. She's had enough. She wants the fruit. She's going to go get that fruit. And only because of the presence of her master does she allow herself to be captured. So I think that whole experience really put a sour taste in her mouth.
Yeah.
Because once she got captured, then that made her a target for Maul. And she's where she is right now because Master Diko Dookie let her get arrested. They let it happen. They could have easily escaped. So
for sure.
They could have gotten out of there.
For
And they
sure.
should have. They should have.
They should
but no,
have.
What is it? Time to teach the Padawan a lesson. Well, look where that's led us now. Only a few episodes later, she's crossing blades with Darth frickin' Maul.
Well,
all because you wanted to teach her a lesson about shoplifting.
Yeah, he does say in episode 4, after his confrontation with Maul, that he failed her. And I kind of wonder if that's what he's referring to. He's not referring to the battle they just barely escaped from. Actually, they didn't really escape. Maul just left. If that what he's just apologizing for is exactly what you're saying, is that this was all just because he couldn't adapt and change into his new role as more of a parental figure or at least a friend instead of a teacher all the time. You know, it's not. Your role is not always to be a teacher, even when you are a teacher. Sometimes, you know, your student, your apprentice, whatever, needs a friend. And that's what she needed in that moment, was someone to be a friend and understand. But that wasn't the case for him.
Yeah.
But
the only thing I could think of is that he was concerned it would have outed them as Force users and possibly Jedi as they're making their escape. And he figures, well, it's just a shoplifting charge.
Yeah, you'll be out.
Possibly, she'll be out in a few hours. He was waiting for her to get released. So he didn't, the Force failed Master Daki because it didn't give him a heads up that this was a very, very dangerous situation to let Devin go walking into? He had no indication whatsoever. Not all Jedi can see the future with the clarity of an Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that never gets really made clear, but it has been defined in the past that some Jedi simply have more ability and greater skill at using the Force than others.
Yes.
And somebody can have great ability with the Force as far as telekinesis and physical things and levitation and all that, but maybe they can't see the future that well. There's just something clouded. Even Yoda had a hard time seeing the future, and that was because of the growing presence of the dark side in the galaxy. So you can imagine during the age of the Empire, the ability for a Jedi to tap into the Force is restricted.
Absolutely. And even for the great ones, I think that it's diminished, it's limited. I think they also don't want to be creating any unnecessary waves in the Force for fear they're going to be detected by Inquisitors or something like that. So I think they're going to use the Force, whether it be something that is very demonstrable in front of people or even just in their own head. I think they're going to be using it with a lot of restraint, just to remain hidden. So with Maul and Devin here, like Maul seems less interested to me in winning fights at this point, but maybe he's trying to win people, or he has a larger game that he's playing, because he lets Devin go later in episode 4. When I'm sure we'll talk about it. He lets Devin go again with Master Daki. So we saw him in previous episodes let Lawson go. So he's not just looking for a body count or to be stacking bodies, even when maybe the old Maul would have. Is he really playing like 4D chess here, Jim, or is this a Maul that is just potentially not as sharp as he was? Maybe his bark is maybe not quite as, or his bite is not as big as his bark. Is this or is he really just a master strategic thinker at this point and manipulator?
Well, I think all of the things you said are in play, but just where Maul is at right now, he is on a personal mission to quench his thirst of revenge, and that is his priority. So I don't even think recruiting is necessary top of the list, even though he has been having visions that he would take on an apprentice. Maybe he has so much confidence in those visions that he's fine with playing the long game and being patient and just letting things play out. In the meantime, he'll quench his thirst for revenge and go seek all of the people who did him wrong after the Mandalore disaster, as he calls it. Or no, he calls it I think he calls it the Mandalore tragedy. Him getting defeated at Mandalore a couple times,
Yeah, right. It is sort of his Waterloo. But I love this. I love this shot for those just listening. It's just beautiful image, screen capture of when Devin really loses her cookies and gets super pissed off at Maul, and he finally got to her. He's been needling her, and of course she erupts, and he's very proud of himself. But beautiful. The lighting in this that Joel Aaron does is just it's masterful. The animation is beautiful. I'm getting more used to, and it seems like it's mainly when we see Maul. Like, the one thing that they're doing a lot, Jim, is like Maul's getting all these like big like glamour close-ups, and he can't make just a simple entrance in a scene. It's always got to be like dark, and then there's a big shadow, and then you see the horns, and it's Maul. Even when we know Maul's there, he has to like make an entrance. But it seems like whenever they're showing Maul, that's when they really kind of use that brushed sort of look. When you're looking at other characters, it feels a lot more smooth in that typical Star Wars, Lucasfilm animation style that we're used to. Maul's always got this sort of scratchy, rough look to him.
I've even noticed like lines in his forehead, maybe some bags under the eyes. I think they're intentionally trying to pick a little bit from the hologram we saw of Maul in the Solo film, which depicted the same character that Ray Park played all those years, but depicted him with Ray Park and all those years. So he was a vastly different looking Maul.
He was.
And I kind of get the feeling. I mean, it is in the future, on the timeline itself. So totally acceptable. And
he gained
Ray
a few pounds, we'll put it that way.
Yeah, Ray is going to age however Ray is going to age. Just tune into his Instagram account if you want updates on that. Or don't. Better yet, don't.
Yeah. Right. And
God bless the guy.
It could be that they're trying to create some continuity there. But I know, because I was complaining a little bit about how dark everything is and sort of the scratchy, brush lines was sort of getting in the way. But I'm getting used to it. I think after being 4 episodes in, it doesn't bother me as much because we also get some really beautiful shots. At the end of their confrontation, we see Devin leaving. And I like when Maul grabs the lightsaber back from her. Yeah, I'm going to be needing this. So.
Yeah, right.
But
it's a book she checked out of his library. And, he's a librarian from hell.
But I like this shot because it shows Devin running back to the light, which I think this is the last time, or probably one of the last times, but maybe the last time that we see Devin running towards the light. After this, I think it's going to be Devin running towards and it's kind of being ensconced in the darkness. So round 1, or I guess we could call this round 2, because round 1 was her just living in that little cell. That was a test. She passed that, and round 2, though, Maul lost this one. I'm going to give this round to Devin because despite the fact that Maul could have killed her at any moment, he didn't. She turned him down. She left. He made her, essentially an offer, tried to seduce her, and she's gone. So I'm going to say it's Maul 1, Devin 1 so far.
Oh, you're calling this? You're.
I'm saying this is. I'm sorry. This is round 2. So the saber battle's round 2.
Nah, he's just toying with her. He let her go. If he wanted to kill her, he would have. However,
no, I didn't. I didn't say that. What I said was he made her the offer. She said no, and that was it. So we're off to round 3. What's the next round going to be?
To Maul, he looks like it looks like the offer's on the table. He didn't hear her say no. He doesn't care. He's just going to keep picking away at her until she finally breaks. And he has confidence in that. I firmly believe he
has confidence. That's for sure.
Now, of course, what bailed her out is what bails out any Force-sensitive character in Star Wars these days is the old Force push. You can be getting your ass handed to you, but you got that Force push, and it's going to bail you out. However, I think her ability to pull that move off was strong enough, powerful enough, that it did catch Maul's attention.
Mm-hmm.
And it separated the two, gave her enough distance to make her get away. But something very curious happened as Maul was looking up after she force pushed him, and I had the subtitles on. And as she runs away, Maul looks up, and the subtitles read, "Maul's lightsaber speaks alien language."
I saw this. What is that?
Yeah, look at that.
What is that about?
See, I took that picture right off my TV too.
Looked good.
With the thing. Click.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to document this. Because you never know. They might say, "What did you do? Why'd you put that in the subtitles?" And they'll erase it and switch it out on you before you know it. So we have to document these things when we experience them.
What's going on with Maul's pants, though? I see his lightsaber is speaking an alien language, but what's going on with his pants?
Well, I think that's the translation of what the lightsaber is saying. It's just saying pants. You know? I don't know. But yeah, it does say Maul's lightsaber speaks alien language. And then in parentheses underneath that, it says pants. But I think that just means, Maul is like, because she got him good with a force push, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was powerful enough that it caught his attention. So Maul's lightsaber speaks alien language. And I'm like, what? I don't hear it. What it's saying, what? I don't hear anything. But sure enough, there is a little whispering thing in there. So if you play track 1, I had to take the audio into the RFR Sound Lab to try to get to the bottom of this. You know me, I'm obsessive that way. So track 1 is the actual full mix. And you will hear some faint whispers in the background. See, it was like that Rataba or whatever.
Yeah.
So I took the audio, massaged it a little bit, kind of gave it a little rub down and
some oils.
Some precious oils and very light touch, massaged it, and I was able to isolate the actual track of the whispers. So let's hear that on its own.
Oh.
Rataba.
Yeah.
So, very similar to the old Duel of the Fates, episode 1, Darth Maul signature sound.
Right.
That's the Darth Maul signature sound.
Yes, when Sidious introduces him to the Trade Federation guys, he's like, "This is my apprentice, Lord Maul. He will find your lost ship." And at that point, you can hear that. Well,
no, not that one.
Background.
That's the second one.
Oh, what's going on here?
All right. Well, I kind of wanted to set that up because Jesus. What the hell is going on over there?
Jesus, how long is that clip? Okay.
All right. Well, you didn't let me start. You played the wrong clip. You didn't play number 2, the isolated one. You played number 3.
This will all change when you listen to the podcast, though.
Probably not. Probably not.
Right.
I don't have the patience. But so that last one that Jason played like 5 times at the same time. I did want to isolate that one too, because the whispers come back in the 4th episode. The 4th episode leads off with the whispers, and they're more demonic and more like just excruciating as far as it conveys pain to me. I wonder if this is Sam Witwer doing this sound.
Can we hear it again? Because what people were actually hearing were tracks 2 and 3 at the same time. So let's actually hear track 3. This is what you're talking about in episode 4.
It starts off slow. It starts slow and then gets very intense.
Jesus, I feel like I was just demon possessed there for a second.
Clearly a male and female voice there. I think maybe to represent, the tango that's going on between Maul and Devin. And I was wondering if this is what the episode title Whispers in the Unknown is referring to. Are these sounds apparently coming from Maul's lightsaber? I'm not just going to chalk that up as some weird subtitle disconnect, okay? These subtitles for these Disney Plus shows, these Star Wars streaming series, they've always been very, very specific. And I think they're based on insider knowledge from the scripts. So Maul's saber now we'll be having a conversation. Before you know it, Maul Saber's going to have his own podcast. He's going to be competing with us, probably bashing us.
Podcast now. Well, so my issue with this is I can understand the idea that when there's this much dark side energy happening, that's being conjured, that's being used, that these, for lack of a better term, spirits make themselves known in some way, and maybe they vocalize or whatever. But I'm having a hard time with the whole Maul's lightsaber. Like, what does this have to do with his saber? First of all, it's a different lightsaber than what he had during the Phantom Menace. So, and why would an inanimate object like a lightsaber speak? Why would the spirits, let's just say, of the dark side somehow use the lightsaber as some sort of vessel? I don't know. I would like it better if it just said, alien whispers are heard, or something like that. I don't know why they're so specific about Maul's lightsaber speaks.
Maybe we'll find out. I think it's something that they're tipping us off to. That's going to become a thing in the show. I mean, we were wondering why Maul had his lightsaber sitting there next to his little tea set. Maybe he has, little tea parties with his lightsaber.
He was talking to his lightsaber. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, lightsaber. And then the lightsaber says, hey, Maul. And they sit there and they have their little tea together. And so that's it. That's my deep dive into the.
No, that's really cool, because at one point, this was just a cool sound effect that Ben Burtt put into the Phantom Menace at some point. It would, and now they're making it a thing. It's officially becoming a thing because they're giving it a certain concreteness in the actual action of the subtitles, which, as you say, come from the script. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think there's a disconnect. I really don't. I think there's some very specific language being used here and very specific messaging that's being, because you can't mislead part of your audience by providing them with information. I mean, we're talking about a specific audience that uses subtitles. You can't lie to them in the middle of the story just because there's some disconnect between the subtitles and what's happening on screen. No, this stuff is coming directly from the script and the storytellers.
I want to go back and I want to correct myself, because I was saying that I could buy if this was just sort of some sort of Sith spirit or whatever, and I shouldn't have said Sith spirit. This is Night Sister stuff. This is magic stuff. We don't hear the when any other Sith appears on screen, whether it be in animation or in film, live action, whatever. This is unique to Maul, and this is this is Night Sister magic kind of thing that's going on here. So again, unique to Maul. So
yeah,
Maul's lightsaber speaking alien language. I don't know. Maybe the lightsaber has something to do with Dathomirian or Sith witch magic or whatever it is. But it's definitely more unique to Maul, and I think Mother Talzin. By the way, I didn't know that it was supposed to be Talzin.
No, I thought it was Talzin.
I thought it was Talzin too, but I'm hearing Talzin.
South side of Chicago, we call her Talzin. So,
all right, well,
hold on.
Yeah.
There has been a trend lately with Star Wars comics and novels to have items that are, let's just say, possessed by Sith spirits. They've had helmets, they've had amulets, they've had swords and shields, all of these things somehow containing Sith energy or a Sith spirit or a connection to a Sith spirit. Like in the comic books, they have this mask, and there is a Sith Lord called Momin, Lord Momin. And at the moment, Momin is His spirit is stuck in this mask.
Mm.
And that just has been such a trend with Star Wars stuff. And then you have holocrons, you have wayfinders, you have all of these things that are like physical items that are imbued with the Force or imbued with a Force spirit somehow. So I like the idea, though, that Maul's saber has some sort of Night Sister enhancement. And when you turn it on, you hear the rataba. Rataba.
The Ratama.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll buy it. But it does create something. I think initially this was Sith power being manifested in audio form by Ben Burton, Phantom Menace, and now it's like it's become sort of that retconned into this thing that deals with the Sith witches and not the Sith witch, the Dathomirian witches and Mother Talzin and all of that. Never let a cool sound effect or concept go to waste. Make a thing out of it. Why not?
That's right.
Let's check in with our favorite cop, our favorite beat cop here on Janix, and talk a little bit what's going on with Brander Lawson. So we're seeing something interesting at play here, where, up to this point, I just assumed that not only would Brander Lawson and Two Boots be thick as thieves, they're partners. There's a subservience a little bit to Two Boots, to Lawson, bringing him coffee and things like that. So I'm not saying he's his servant, but, he's just got that typical droid master relationship. They definitely don't feel, seem like necessarily equals. It feels like Lawson has a seniority or something over him. Despite that fact, we're seeing growing dissension between the two. We're seeing a need for Two Boots to play by the rules, to go by the book. And he wants to alert the Empire that things are getting crazy here. And it goes from just being sort of in the, conceptual to being very real. He witnesses this massive shootout between the Shadow Syndicate, the Pikes, and Vario's gang, which are being puppeteered by Vario by way of Maul, or by way of Vario through Maul. And he sees loss. He nearly gets killed or deactivated or whatever droids think about themselves. So basically the war comes very, very close to Two Boots' doorstep, and it actually creates a real fissure between him and Lawson. Jim, we also find out that Lawson's ex-wife, we know now it's an ex-wife, they don't use that term, but I think he says former wife, is now working for the Empire. So this adds another layer as to why Lawson wants anything to happen other than, and he's willing to tolerate a lot there on Janix, rather than have the Empire come to the planet. So we've got these two things. We've got this sort of fissure happening between the two, and Two Boots really taking on I don't want to say a superior role, but like by the book and holding Lawson accountable. And this idea that Lawson's ex is indeed an Imperial officer. Or not officer, but works for the Empire.
Well, she
could
might
be a librarian for all we know.
Yeah, but hey, listen, she's on board that Star Destroyer that showed up.
You know it.
You know
it. Yes.
Go ahead, place your bets now. That's a winning bet right there. You know she's on board that, because everything gets foreshadowed. And it's interesting you bring up the relationship between Two Boots and Lawson. And Lawson's clearly the superior here. I think any actual living, breathing person would be a superior at the police station when it comes to droids.
Yeah.
I don't think any droid would outrank some like a human.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that he may have taken up sort of a surrogate role, a surrogate partner role for Lawson beyond just being his police partner. He brings him coffee. He covers for him so he could go watch the Suns game. And they're bonded that way. They have a legitimate friendship where it almost feels like they have a family connection between the two of them.
Yeah.
And there's no weirdness. Nobody says anything to Lawson about it because remember, it was considered kind of odd back in the day that Luke would care about his droids, about R2 and 3PO. That was always conveyed in the storytelling of the time. That, what do you care about your droids for? Who cares?
They're toasters, right? They're appliances.
Right. And that was echoed a little bit in the Kenobi series with little Leia when she was being polite to her servant droid and her cousin's like, why are you being polite to that droid? You don't have to be. And she's like, yeah, I'd be more polite to the droid than you, fool. She was a little firecracker in that series, that little Leia. But I like to see that relationship. Nothing weird about it, I think that human and droids kind of having friendships has been a concept that has become more accepted in Star Wars storytelling as the years have gone on. But in the past, I think it was always very strange that Luke was palling around with 3PO and R2. I don't think that was a common thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing shades of this now with the advent of AI. There's people that have full-on relrelationships, or they think they do. Who am I to judge? I don't know. With
but
AI.
I've heard this.
So, you can see how this might be a thing. Imagine if your AI wasn't just something on your device; it was actually walking and talking along with you. So the temptation would be there, especially if you're, a warm person that likes the company of other people and that sort of thing. So, or the other, something that I wonder about in the backstory of Lawson, like, did Lawson lose a human partner at some point? And like, use that term surrogate. And I like that maybe Two Boots has filled this void of this human partner that maybe Lawson may have had at some point.
That's interesting, but we've only seen cops out on the beat or showing up for investigations or whatever. We see one human with 1 to 4 or whatever different droids. We never see two humans together.
That's true. Yeah, there's very few humans relative to the number of police droids. That's for sure.
I have noticed that. The cops, they show up with their droid partners, but rarely, I don't think we've ever seen two cops show up together in the 4 episodes of Maul Shadow Lord. They're always partnered with a droid. It's just that's kind of an interesting, interesting thing to know. Earlier in the episode,
must be pretty low. They're on Janix. Nobody wants the job.
Right. Earlier in the episode, we see Officer Reb investigating the Pike's warehouse, and he's with, I assume that was Two Boots.
Yeah, that was Two Boots.
Yeah, that was injured because they all look the same,
Yeah. What?
No, they do. And, I'm sorry, but it's true. And Two Boots, he knows what's up, but he can always be turned off if he gets a little too out of line.
Yes.
Who turned him back on? When he got turned back on, he was left in that phone booth at the police station. When he got turned back on, did he immediately go to Chief Kleiss and report Lawson?
I don't think he went to Chief Kleiss. I think he reached out directly. That's what he was attempting to do here.
Oh, that's what he was attempting to do here.
Yeah.
But we didn't see when he got, remember, Lawson turned him off. Moment.
So someone had to turn him back on.
Making that call. Somebody had to turn him back on. And so what did he do? He went right to Chief Kleiss right away. Yeah, why didn't he just try to call the Empire?
I mean, Kleiss was definitely making it clear that things were getting harder and harder for her to keep, from the Empire. It was reaching a point, a critical point. She did not want to do it. Other than the big battle there at the end of episode 4, I don't know that anything that happened up to that point would have changed Kleiss' mind, because Kleiss, I'm assuming, was aware of that battle there that happened between the Pikes and the Shadow Syndicate, that Two Boots was there and what's his name was injured at. So if that didn't change Kleiss' mind, I don't know what else Two Boots can say. My theory is they flipped him on, and he's sitting there right there where we see him in that little phone booth. He had the ISB right there, ready to speed dial, and he hit that button. That was the first impulse he had when he woke up, was to hit that button, and rather than go to Kleiss. I don't think he would have wanted to go to anybody, because he didn't want to be told no, especially after he wakes up and realizes that his partner and his friend just turned him off. That's got to be the most invasive thing that a human can do to a droid, is shut him down.
Yeah, either that or dismantle him.
Right.
But Kleiss does tell Brander that Two Boots had gone over his head and reported him, but she meant reported him to her. So maybe Two Boots had already, maybe he did hit that call button, and then he reported Brander to Kleiss. Kleiss believed that Two Boots was not going.
Well, that conversation happens earlier, where Kleiss comes to Lawson and says, "You got to get your droid in line. What's going on with him?" Yeah.
So that's why I said when he got turned on, he went right to Kleiss.
He got turned on. He went right to ISB.
Right to Kleiss. Maybe he did call ISB first, but then why even say anything to Kleiss?
I think he already tried Kleiss.
No, this was after all of that. After he got shut down and after all that, then she came over and said that to Brander. So I don't. Then Two Boots got assigned to desk duty because he was out of line. So, but you're probably right.
Is that when he moves the picture, the thing in front of the picture? Because he can't look at it. He's like an angry ex-girlfriend. He doesn't want to see the picture of them anymore.
Right. So that's early. That's in the prior episode, even before the Empire shows up. So I think that he went, and when he got reactivated, he went to Chief Kleiss. And then when he got assigned to desk duty, that's when he probably decided, well, screw this. I'm just going to reach out to the Empire then. This is a mess here. But he doesn't realize everyone's you-know-what is on the line. Brander Lawson, Chief Kleiss, everyone, because they didn't report Maul to the Empire like they were supposed to in the first place. So everyone's in huge trouble with the Empire showing up.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to demand why they were kept out of the loop when it comes to a fugitive like Darth Maul. They made it very clear that the Empire should be contacted immediately upon just merely seeing the guy. But Brander Lawson and the Janix PD have all had interactions with Maul. They've battled with him. They've chased after him. So they're in big trouble. And communicated with him via hologram. Yeah, so they're in big trouble.
All right. Hey, we are going to turn the phone lines on, by the way. We'll get you all queued up. Tyler Page, the official call screener and RFR program observer, is here and waiting your calls. And everything should be working this week. We've tested it, and we should be in good shape. So the number to call if you're listening to this live, 708-866-1737. That's 708-866-1737. Give us a call. Tell us where we got it right, where we got it wrong, what your theories are. Your observations. Are you liking Maul? Is Devin already turning? Even if she doesn't know it?
I think Tyler has something he wants to communicate with us.
Oh, he does?
No, I was just calling up the number.
Oh, he was just
pointing. You were like going like this.
Yeah, he was pointing to the number.
He was pointing to the... I didn't know that you do this, like, this mime act.
He's pointing to the number. Yeah, 708-866-1737.
Okay.
Did Lawson make the right call to not involve the Empire? Who's the real villain now? Is it Maul? Is it the Empire? Lots of things to talk about here this week on the Maul Shadow Lord After Show. So give us a call, 708-866-1737. Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, let's talk about Ludi Vario for a second.
Let's talk about Ludi Vario.
I did a little bit of research on the actor who plays Ludi.
Okay.
His name is Chris Diamantopoulos. And
that's a Greek name.
Yes. And he's notable for playing the role of Mo Howard in the 2012 Three Stooges movie from the Farrelly brothers.
No way.
Yeah. I was like, wow, what an interesting piece of trivia there. That the guy who played Mo Howard is Ludi Vario. Remember, so Chris Diamantopoulos was Mo.
Mm-hmm.
Will Sasso was Curly. And
Sean Hayes
was Larry.
Larry, that's right.
And the movie also had Sofia Vergara in it. And for as bad as you think it might be, it's actually pretty damn entertaining, I gotta say.
Well,
those are tough shoes to fill, but
somebody here is saying that, Jeff Holland, our pal Jeff, he says that he also played the Boom Man from The Office. Isn't he the one that has the little thing with Pam, or tries to have the little thing with Pam?
Yeah, in the final season of The Office.
Yeah.
They start exposing the documentary crew that's been following around these office workers for all these years. And so Chris was the boom mic man. But he's always going to be Mo to me. And if you listen closely, I think there are some Three Stooges audio Easter eggs in the first episode of Maul Shadow Lord. So I took the show, went down to the RFR Sound Lab and isolated the moment where I thought I heard, you have to listen very carefully, but I think I hear Three Stooges Easter eggs in this scene.
Why would I want to start a war with you, Demas? I got too much to risk.
Make me look weak. Try to take over my territory.
What?
Was you?
No. Whoa. Don't do anything crazy. We have a truce, Demas.
Leave him alone, you big bully.
I'll tell you what, Filoni just loves taking these references and
right.
these saying George was very influenced by samurai and the Western and the Three Stooges, and he did it with the pit droids.
Shemp was the chosen one. So
wow, we got half the switchboard filled up already. So yeah, that's great. Give us a call. Can't wait to hear your phone calls. We've got some super chats. Before we get into some of the more details of these episodes, let's check in with you guys. And here's Kurt Bear Tattoo. Very kind super chat here. Thank you. He says, the sound design during Devin and Maul's cat playing with its food duel was fantastic. RFR number 1. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Jim, how are you feeling so far about music and the sound mix and all of that? What we're hearing through our ear holes with this series.
I love it. The soundtrack trend of having these, scary single notes just blast out through the silence. The Maul show uses that trend pretty damn well. I think that trend started with Sicario too, by the way, which I think won the Academy Award for Best Soundtrack that year. It was like 10 years ago. And so I think it's pretty effective. The thing that bothers me the most was, I know I pay for the Disney Plus ad-free version, But that Allstate commercial that happened in the middle of this episode, did you see that?
I don't get
that.
commercials in Disney with Disney.
I
Plus.
did. I sent, because I isolated that moment, but I sent it to you. It was just such a weird thing to have happen right in the middle of Maul Shadow Lord.
You did send this to me. Okay.
I did.
I don't
Okay,
have
good.
it. I can pull it up here.
Oh, wait.
I don't think you sent that to me.
Oh, no. Oh, no. We've totally screwed it.
I don't have that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get that for you, because it's very important that we sort of shine a light on what I think is a growing problem with streaming services, when they kind of dupe you into thinking, hey, this is the ad-free version, and then they do things. They sneak commercials in.
Wait a minute, are we talking
almost like the
Crystal?
Yeah, almost
here?
as invasive. Almost as invasive. I kid you not. It was like jarring.
Well, while you look for that, we got a super chat from Rich Brendel. Just as hoping this show finally reveals how Maul drops a deuce. That's the big mystery of the Sith. Well, Rich, all I can say is I hope your dreams come true with this series, and you finally get to solve that mystery. WTPO says, perplexing how Lucasfilm puts zero effort connecting this to Phantom Menace for casual fans. A Disney Plus special look featurette with Whitwer narrating Clone Wars clips explaining Maul's journey would have been wonderful. WTPO, Dave Filoni did something similar to what you're talking about, which he caught us up on Maul's.
Not really. They took old clips from Clone Wars DVD sets, and they just stripped some of the audio commentary off of that, and then they created.
Is that all that was?
Then they created new videos around
stuff. Oh, it was old stuff. That was nothing.
Filoni just doesn't. He just doesn't. He doesn't care for interviews and things like that.
Yeah,
and so you don't really hear from him often. Rotten Tomatoes, they released a half-hour thing of clips of Sam and Filoni talking in depth about the characters and stuff. No, it was an electronic press kit that Rotten Tomatoes then just stitched together to make it look like one sort of special. But it was essentially
it was an EPK issued by who? Lucasfilm?
Yeah. Lucasfilm, yeah. Or Disney, whoever.
Okay. All right. And so they just took the content, edited it together, and said, here's a half hour of these two guys. Yeah. All right.
Right. There's no question and answer rhythm going on there. It's just these static clips, and the guys reveal some interesting insight into the characters, and we might review clips of that on a future RFR, but nothing fresh, no new interviews that I've seen yet. I haven't seen an interview with Dave Filoni since Ahsoka season 1 was released.
Well, Whitwer's all over everywhere talking. I mean,
well, yeah, sure. Yeah, Sam, of course. But Filoni just doesn't care for that stuff. He talked on stage at Star Wars Celebration Japan and did some, press junket type of quickies, but no sit down Q&As with Filoni. We really used to get under the hood with him, and he loved talking to us. But the guy he got too big. He got too big and became untouchable, apparently. And,
unreachable.
There were some people at Lucasfilm who were a little frosted that he was spending more time with us than them. At the end of the day, I think that was a big problem.
Unbelievable.
That was a big problem.
Unbelievable.
Once he started palling around with Favreau, that was it. So I put this moment when I was watching the show. I isolated that moment when I was just blindsided by a commercial, and I put it into the Dropbox. So if you wanted to take a look at that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Just the sneaky way in which they. It was the head of Sony was talking at a big convention over the weekend where he accused theaters of being high on advertising crack because they show over a half an hour of commercials and trailers before every movie. And he's like, they got to back down on this. You got to consider the user experience here and get off the ad crack. Well, I mean, if they're going to keep sneaking commercials into Star Wars streaming shows like the way they did with the Maul Shadow Lord, I think we're going to have to take Disney to rehab for ad crack. You'll see what I mean.
All right, let's see what this is.
Our target is a syndicate leader.
That isn't it.
He's associated with several.
It will be.
What is this?
So nice to formally meet you, Master Daki. You've come to kill me.
Now that you know the truth, are you in good hands?
When has that passive ideology ever served you, Jedi? Haven't you learned your lesson? It seems not.
These days, you need more than just an insurance agent. You need an Allstate agent, someone who makes it their business to help protect you, even in times as dark as these.
You survive, but you do not live.
And that's very different than living on Park Avenue in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, where ice dams could cause water damage.
And look where that's gotten you. It is your unwillingness to use your power that makes you weak.
That's Allstate, Stan. Are you in good hands?
It totally took me out of it.
It's just shameless.
I know.
Shameless. And, you know, we were talking about how we don't want to watch Star Wars to get this sort of real world bullshit. You know what?
That's right.
We want to be transported to a galaxy far, far away, not be reminded of our own insurance policies. Yeah.
Well, you know, that was Dennis Haysbert who plays Master Daki, and for years he was the spokesperson for Allstate. Old Brown Shoe 52 in the chat says, found out that the voice of Daki is the Allstate guy after the first week's episodes, and hearing him talk this week, it sometimes took me out of it. LMAO.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about well, you know what? We got some more super chats here. I want to jump over here. Make sure we don't lose this one. This is a big one. Turtle Wars. Thanks so much, Turtle Wars. Great guy. RFR VIP on Patreon. New Star Wars, new live RFR after shows, new Star Wars movie in 6 weeks. Life is good. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Indeed, life is good. That's for sure. Scott St. Louis says, 4 out of the 5 barfers love Maul. But not 5 out of 5. 39 days until the barf blenders and blue milk come to Cleveland. Join us. Happy 15th anniversary, Peter and Meg Beiser. Yeah, happy 15th anniversary to you two. And then finally, one of our favorites here, Tanya. Happy to see Maul kicking ass in these 2 episodes. Was a little skeptical after episodes 1 and 2 with the slow burn character development. Cheers, RFR. I've heard some people saying that this is a slow burn, but I mean, we're talking a slow burn. These episodes are like 20 minutes long, so we're we're less than 100 minutes into this thing, and I think we've seen quite a bit of action, character development, and all of that. That's just one guy's opinion. But
yeah, I don't think slow burn. I think it's moving along at just a really perfect pace. All the characters are getting their share of time. The characters we're supposed to care about are getting ample amounts of time, and it's very balanced. It's really balanced. I think they're doing a great job with this show. I don't.
Yeah, I think the pacing is. I think the pacing is excellent.
Yeah.
Is excellent. We got to talk about this brilliant heist job. This assassination is really what it is on Mark Krim that opens up episode 4. I'll be honest. I know I'm a little more on the naive side, but like I was going back and forth. I'm like, okay, that Vario, he's turned it on him already. Oh my God, this guy's gonna get it. Because I really like the Vario character. He's fun. He provides a lot of comic relief, and I kind of want him to stick around. He's sort of one of the lighter moments of a pretty dark show. But you saw him checking his piece there at the beginning. Thought, oh my God, he's going in. They're sending him in. He's going to go in and assassinate the Pike leader. And then you see how it unfolds, and it ends up being, I think this is Icarus. Maybe was this Icarus or was this the other dude? that was the double.
I had no idea. I couldn't tell. I think it was Icarus because he wasn't wearing I think it was Scorn.
Scorn.
Because Icarus wears the mask over his nose and mouth. Yeah.
But one absolutely brilliant strategy here. It had me, as I said, kind of guessing and my way through it. But number two, a lot have observed, and I agree, Scorn pretty good with a lightsaber because he damn near doubled for Maul as he took out several of the pikes at the very beginning. So Maul has definitely been teaching these guys. It also makes me wonder, too, if that isn't sort of part of their purpose, is that they are doubles for Maul. You know, like all these big, dictators and throughout history, they've all had body doubles. You know, Hitler had doubles and Saddam Hussein had doubles and Stalin and all of that. I wonder if that's something that they've done before. It also is a great magic trick. You know, if you've got a double, it's going over here and you're over there, so really great concept. And I'm guessing it wasn't their first rodeo here with this type of job.
No, they had it all together. Very tight, very tight. I don't think what surprises me though is they just assumed somebody was going to incapacitate that Zabrak. Really, doesn't the whole plan kind of rely on that?
Well, that's why we see Vario with the stun gun. I'm thinking it's a gun to protect himself, and he's checking to make sure that it's the gun that he's going to use to stun.
Oh, that's interesting. So you think Vario stunning the Zabrak
was all part of the
plan?
All part of the plan. That's what I think.
Because I was getting vibes that Vario was improvising and was looking to screw over Maul and the Shadow Collective.
No, I think that bought him the time that he needed, I think, in that moment to then, he had to earn Krim's trust by looking like he saved him from a potential assassination. And of course, then that's what leads to it. And pretty cool way that Maul dispatches of Krim, similar to what we see with Snoke a little bit, where pulls the.
You think you have the advantage?
Yeah.
By holding the Force user's lightsaber and keeping it away from them, you think you have the advantage. Well, you think again. Because Mark Krim had to split. Yeah. And he was voiced by Steven Stanton, our good friend. Steven Stanton.
I thought that was Steven, yes. Because I heard just a touch of Moralo in there. Just a touch. A little
because
bit.
they had him. They were running him through a vocal harmonizer, so it was really hard to understand, to decipher his vocal quality. But that was Steven. So I'm glad to see that he's lending his vocal skills. He's continuing to lend them to Star Wars animation. And in the first episode, and I couldn't quite figure out who he was exactly amongst the maybe he was in the fourth episode, I can't remember. They're blending together. But there was a Pike captain who was voiced by Andrew Kishino, who is a veteran of he's a veteran of the Clone Wars. He was the original voice of Saw Gerrera. So he was the voice.
Now, is he the one that got the promotion at the end? Maul's like, who's the captain here? And he's like, yeah, me. He's like, guess what? You're in charge now, but you answer to me.
That was a guy named what was his name?
Colt?
Yeah, yes. But no, I looked in the credits and that's a different actor.
That's a different actor. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so it must have been in the third episode. There was a Pike captain voiced by Andrew Kishino, the original voice of Saw Gerrera, and ex-husband of Rook cast voice actor Vanessa Marshall, a.k.a. Harrison Doolin.
Oh, man. It is all in the family. The other thing that made me laugh, I was Maul standing over Krim's body, and talking to his dead body about how he had tried to best him and he failed. It reminded me of Jack Nicholson in Batman after he fried that gangster, and he's there talking to his dead corpse, and he's like, I'm glad you're dead. And so it's just kind of a sick, twisted side here of Maul talking to the corpse of Mark Krim. So really well done. Great sequence. Loved it. We've got a little more to talk about here just in the action of this episode, but do want to go to the phones. Everybody's been very, very patient, and we will start off with a favorite of ours. Here's a Patreon member. We've got Pepper Spray Johnny, I believe, on the line with us. Pepper Spray Johnny. Hey, Johnny.
Roger.
Hey.
Hey, guys. How are you doing? Good to be on the air.
Great. Good to hear from you.
It's good to hear from you.
Can you get... Yeah. Thank you. I wanted to... I'll just get right to it. I think I wanted to say that I really appreciated just the moment where our Padawan, our True Padawan, I don't know, it just felt so palpable how in the moment she made a light side choice. Like I was telling Tyler that I really remember playing the KOTOR video games, and then I'm also a big fan of Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is a spin-off type sequel thing. And one thing that they really kind of double down on and really like to point out is like when the player or the character makes a light side or dark side choice. And just in that moment, like I feel like a lot of people, maybe just me, I feel like I almost would have expected her really to just break down and then see Maul's reasoning and just kind of basically choose his side and then abandon her master, and then her master ends up getting killed. But that didn't happen. What happened is that we saw her consciously fight against the dark side. I think you guys were talking about earlier how they were not telling us, they were showing us, and they literally showed us her struggling with the temptation of the dark side, and then she willingly made a light side choice. And we saw that, like, just, really well done, in my opinion. And the action was great, too.
I'm glad you said that, Johnny, because that was exactly what I was alluding to earlier when I was saying that I thought that round 2 went to her. And, Maul's playing the long game. He's there for all, 10 rounds. But I think round 1 went to Maul, and round 2 went to Devin, because she did not lose herself. And I agree. I think she did make a light side choice. So appreciate that. Appreciate the call. Thanks, buddy. Let's go over and talk to Marty from Georgia. Wants to talk about that lightsaber of Maul's. Maybe it's possessed by Sith witches.
Hey, catch up, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Hey, Marty.
I'll get right into it because hey, guys, I know you got a lot of callers, so I'll just get right into it. I saw I think it was on TikTok or YouTube, where they unpacked the lightsaber sound for Darth Maul, because just one thing I noticed is it doesn't sound like a traditional lightsaber whenever it's ignited or whenever Darth Maul swings it. And that's because Sam Witwer's scream is being dubbed into the saber sound itself. So it's this weird,
really
menacing, more menacing sound. Yeah, it's incredible. That's why because every time I've heard it so far, it just didn't sound right. And I thought, Jason, like you thought, it was Night Sister stuff, but it just turns out that it's Sam's scream over the lightsaber.
Does it
gotta
sound,
look at this video on how they do it.
Yeah, Marty, does it sound something like this?
Kenobi!
Is that what you're hearing?
A little bit. I noticed that when he was. I noticed that part a little bit in the show, but anyway, it was just. It really stuck out to me, and I thought it was a cool effect.
That is cool.
Just something we haven't seen yet, really, in Star Wars. So
what I would like, if I'm in Star Wars,
I don't.
if I ever got in Star Wars, they always say all the actors, they start making the sounds of the saber. They're like, I want them to incorporate me doing that into my lightsaber blade sound. That's what I want.
Marty, where did you get this information
100%. Yeah, I
about
don't know if
Sam? Marty, where'd you get this information about Sam being the sound effect? Where'd you get that information from? Because I want to research that.
I think I got that off the Star Wars TikTok, the official Star Wars TikTok page or YouTube.
No wonder I don't know this.
But it was from an official Star Wars source, though. I can say that much. I just can't remember the exact media that I saw it on. But I just saw that. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. That is very cool. Maybe we can.
I'll find it. I'll post it in the Patreon chat. So
thanks, dude.
All right. Well, I'm making a note to.
But thank you guys for having me on.
Of course, Marty.
I'm making a note to take this. I'm making a note to take this sound effect into the sound lab, and I'll have results next week. Maybe we'll hear Sam in there, or whatever he's doing on mic. Yeah. Maybe we'll be able to deconstruct it a little bit.
More calls on the way. Jim, I did want to talk about the reunion between Master Daki and Devin. There's an embrace which you don't always see between Jedi and Padawans. In fact, gosh, I'm sure there are examples, but off the top of my head, I can't think of Jedi embracing one another like this. Now, granted, she did escape a pretty terrible scene there with Maul, but as straight-laced as he is, and even says something like, yeah, it does my heart good to be reunited with you again, instead of just saying, oh my gosh, I was so worried about you. I'm so glad you're here, like Yoda, seeing you alive brings good feelings to my heart,
They're also formal.
Right.
They're, just stodgy almost. That's what I like about Devin is she's a more human Jedi Padawan than we traditionally see. Ahsoka had some human moments too, despite her, but I hear what you're saying. He is a little stiff, and I predict that Master Daki, he doesn't have much gas left in the tank. I got the feeling he's going to be pulling over and stalling out here pretty soon, possibly in the next episode.
Okay, so that's been a topic that I've seen online quite a bit. Is Daki and he's holding now. To what I could tell, there was no visible wound from his battle with Maul. As a matter of fact, I thought it was pretty awesome when they were dueling. By the way, this is another just brilliant shot here. I think you used it in your in the Allstate ad that popped up. This is just great animation and artwork here of the two. But when he kicks Maul's leg, I love that. Right there it is. He cracks and it starts to spark and stuff like that. So I mean, Daki is he's been around. I mean, he knows it. Certainly knows his way around a lightsaber fight. I didn't feel, Jim, that Maul was toying with Daki quite the same way as he was with Devin.
Yeah, there was definitely more respect going on there, and Maul recognized the challenge that Daki was presenting. It's far different than having to deal with just the Padawan. Now he's dealing with the Padawan and the Master. So I think even Darth Maul would be wise not to sleep on that. And so, and he knows it too.
Tanya says, sweep the leg. That's exactly what he did. Swept the leg. But you mentioned the gas in the tank. We do see him after the fight. He tells Devin that he apologizes, said he let her down. He's kind of holding his chest. We knew that he was hungry at the beginning of episode 1, and she felt so compelled. It wasn't like, I'm a little peckish. No, I mean, she was willing to steal, so it makes me wonder if maybe she knows that he's slowing down, that he's a little weaker. She wanted to make sure that he got food, and now we see him having this massive battle. I mean, this. So, do you think that he's going to be taken out, or do you think he's just gonna pass away? Maybe an Inquisitor. I know some people are saying an Inquisitor is going to get him at some point. I don't think that Maul can take him out. I don't think that's a way to ingratiate himself with Devin. It can't be Maul. It either has to be someone else or something else.
Well, even Yoda died of old age, and it doesn't seem like Daki is a very young man. He walks around with a cane. He seems to be very old. So I just think that they're setting it up to where he's gonna die, and she might even be responsible for it.
Ooh,
with her aggression and her rush to action. And the fact she doesn't listen, something is going to lead us to a moment when he dies at the end of Maul's lightsaber due to something that she did. And she's going to be facing a choice left alone.
I just feel like the blood of Daki can't be on Maul's blade or on his hands.
Why?
Because I think despite her eventual fall to the dark side, I think it's certainly still at this point, she feels very loyal to him and cares about him a great deal.
At this point. But next week we have 2 more episodes. Who knows what's going to happen then? And it appears that Maul was able to tap into her aggression quite a bit by taunting her the way he was. And we also know that she is fighting for survival. And Maul is putting it all out there. He's putting all the cards on the table. You're begging for food. You're hiding and cowering in the shadows. You should be leading these people. But you suffocate your own power. Why? And she might be asking herself the question, why? I do need to adapt. This is a different galaxy we're living in. The Jedi are gone. Why am I clinging on to those old ideals? I'm never going to survive. I can't even get fruit to feed myself. This is ridiculous. Maul has a point.
Oh, Maul has a lot of really good points. He's not lying to her.
Most of the points he has are on top of his head.
True.
I have said in certain circles that this is the horniest Star Wars show of all time.
Two things I want to mention before we go back to the switchboard. 2 moments in time that we haven't really talked about in this episode, and the first is when Devin is saying to Daki, we've got to do something about this Maul guy. And he thinks, oh, this is about you going after revenge. We don't want to do vengeance. We're Jedi. We're not in the revenge business. And she thinks about, well, what if we told the authorities? And I feel like this is also Devin being perhaps maybe just as old school in some ways as Daki, reverting back to those times when they were the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy and working with law enforcement and the politicians and all of that. She's like, I know a good lawman. Coincidentally, she met Lawson when she was brought in to the police station. So that was kind of interesting that she found a different way. It wasn't just them going and taking on Maul. Let's work with the authorities. And the second thing I want to talk about is this deal that Maul proposes. Jim, you and I speculated in the lead up to this series that it might come down to some sort of Commissioner Gordon, Batman type of agreement that these two have. But so far, just like Maul offering himself to Devin, Lawson too denies him and says, offer refused. So what do you make of those?
You let me do. Well, here's the confusing thing: is Maul, when he starts talking deal with Lawson, he opens with, "I'll be your protection."
Yeah.
And then that's it. There's no further conversation. Protection against what? Protection against who? He's never clear about that. I'm assuming he means protection from the Empire. But then they both talk about how they don't want the Empire around. So he says he's going to be his protection, though. And that made
That's a good point. What does he mean by that? Exactly.
Yeah, they never really expanded on that.
I mean, is it that whole like Chicago, no offense, gangster thing where it's like, wow, this is a pretty nice window here. Would be a shame if something were to happen to it. Maybe you should buy some insurance. I don't know. We'll make sure nothing happens to your window. Is it?
Maybe.
I thought it was like an extortion kind of thing. But yeah, he doesn't really get into much detail, and they both are motivated by not having the Empire there. But man, Lawson just goes for broke here. I mean,
he tells
he knows
Maul
they're outnumbered, but he's so desperate.
Yeah. He tells Maul where to stick it, basically. Maul wants an arrangement. First he says the protection thing, but that never really gets expanded upon. But he does say he won't trouble the city, but he does want to run his criminal organization from Janix without any interference.
Yeah, it's its home base. Corporate HQ right there.
So I'm not gonna bother anyone. You won't even know I'm here.
Right.
Okay. Sure, pal. Sure. And I'm gonna protect you. Against who? Against what? Well, I'm still assuming that's the Empire. So maybe Maul will get elevated into that kind of hero of Janix by some.
Right.
If he actually does fall into that role of protector of Janix.
But we know wherever the Empire shows up, there is persecution of the people, abuse of the people, and all it would take with those circumstances would be someone to stand up. And who else is equipped to stand up to stormtroopers and the might of the Empire but Darth Maul? And as we talked about before, this has got folk hero written all over it, potential.
Maul suddenly says, boy, I feel like I could take on the whole Empire myself. Then Dax says, or Luke's, wait, forget it.
All right. On that note, real quick. So Devin's decision or her plea to Daki to go to the authorities, go to law enforcement, not take this on. Do you think that's like her sort of compromising? Like this is a way. I'm appealing to him. He's kind of old school. So, all right, we're not going to get our hands dirty, but can we at least go to the law about this Darth Maul guy? I know we're not going to be parachuting in, which they actually do practically with their lightsabers drawn. But
your question is what?
No. Is this Devin also being kind of old school in her thinking, or is she just trying to appeal to old Master Daki about, well, we'll just call the cops?
Well, yeah, they do have a discussion about that, about tipping off the police.
Yeah. And he's like,
I think
I
really
know a man.
I think she's largely motivated. She says it. She wants to bring Maul to justice.
Yeah.
And she suggests they contact Lawson.
Yes.
Am I remembering that correctly?
Well, it's weird because she brings up Lawson.
Mm-hmm.
And Daki says something like, yes, I'm aware. Something to that effect. Like kind of saying, I know who this guy is. And then it's like, well, maybe there's a way. And the next thing you know, he and Two Boots are getting this communique about where Maul's location is. It's about just sending them to where Maul is, and he gathers up whatever he can in terms of officers. Yeah, the task force, right.
And it's very clear Uncle Docky is feeding him the information, so he trusts it as soon as he receives it and immediately asks Kleiss for approval for a task force to go hunt down Maul. And that is when he shuts down Two Boots and does not let Two Boots reach out to wait, is that right? Is that when he shuts down Two Boots?
Hold on, let me look at
No.
Yeah, he shuts down Two Boots right before he goes to Maul's safe house.
Oh. Uh-huh.
So we're in episode 4 territory here. Chapter 4. That's okay.
Pulled my.
So we've got Devin reunited with Docky. We got Two Boots being shut down. I don't know. I don't know. I just heard some squealing.
God, it sounded like some Inquisitors showed up at your house.
It sounds like my daughter just found a spider somewhere. That's what it sounds like.
Darth Maul with spider legs. That was great. That was great, man.
Yeah, I heard it. This is live podcasting here, folks. Okay. Okay.
That was great.
We'll let you know next week here what happened. So we've got the shutting down of Two Boots, and then we've got the offer being made here with the hologram of Maul. My screen captures are in chronological order, so that is somewhat helpful in going back.
Well, yeah, it's helpful to me because then I need to correct myself. Earlier in the show when we were talking about Kleiss confronting Lawson about the droid going over his head and going to her, and she puts him on desk duty, that did happen before he shut down Two Boots.
Right, that's what I said.
I know that's what you said. But I'm correcting myself now because I had convinced myself that those sequence of those things happening where I had them flip-flopped.
Well, the two sort of battles, there's the one at the end of 4 where they're at Maul's safe house, and then there's also the deal gone bad between the Pikes and Vario's guys and the Syndicate, and then there's a lot of stuff in between. There is some similarities between the beats of these episodes, especially when they're back to back. So I don't blame you one bit. Let's go over to first time caller. All right. Wants to talk about this idea of Lawson being a bounty hunter per the comic book. So who is this? I don't see a name.
This is this is Thomas from Salt Lake.
Thomas from Salt Lake.
First time caller, Patreon member.
Well, thank you for being a Patreon and thanks for calling.
I tried to, no problem. I had this theory last week, but Tyler summarized it very briefly. But while I was watching the horniest Star Wars show,
right on,
thought of a theory. I feel like Maul in some way recognizes Brander. And the reason I think this is because there's 2 instances, especially in the first 2 episodes, where Maul looks at Brander and is like, like, there's this look that comes over his face, and he purposefully doesn't kill Brander, even though he kills everyone else at the police station when he is getting Vario out. And one way that this could be, one way that he could recognize him is his bounty hunter background, which is not only in the comic book, but it's also I believe it's in his data bank on StarWars.com. So I wanted to say this theory and just see, because Jason, you said that, all of this reaching out, too far-fetched theories, but I feel like, maybe bounty hunting isn't the reason he recognizes him. But Maul also says he knows that Lawson has a strong moral code, and he seems to know much more about Lawson than he should. So I wanted to.
Yeah, it's a great theory. It's a great theory. I would just ask this question: if this is true, and I'm looking at a screen capture because this did speak out to me last week, to where I wanted to make sure I captured this moment of Maul looking at Brander Lawson, the hollow image of Brander Lawson. If it is true that Maul recognizes him from sort of a past life, do we think that he would have sat on that knowledge narratively so far, or would he have turned to Root Cast, who was there, saying, "There's something familiar about this lawman," or what? I think there would have been something there to tip us off earlier. I think if they pull this out in episode 5, 6, or 7, unless it's some like big reveal where he's being exposed, no one knew that he was a bounty hunter, which I guess we know is not true because of the comic book. His chief knows he's not a bounty hunter, or knows he was a bounty hunter. I don't know. It's fallen apart a little bit for me. And Thomas, I apologize. Your name was on the call sheet here. I apologize. I just missed it. So that's on me. Tyler did it absolutely right. All right, man. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the call, and it's a very cool theory. And thanks for jumping on the Patreon. Appreciate that. So, Jim,
Maul certainly
what do you think? Possibly that Maul recognizes Lawson?
Well, you'd think that they've given him a background as a bounty hunter for a reason. Not just to sort of make him cool, because Star Wars bounty hunters are 9 times out of 10 very cool. But I would see Lawson using underworld connections that he had cultivated during his bounty hunter years, and that coming into play in an episode, but not necessarily a Darth Maul.
Like with this dame that he hooked up with there at the end of.
That's perfect. Right. From the first episode or second episode when he was seeking intel from that lady of the night, that purple lady of the night. Was she purple? She looks purple.
Yeah, she was purplish.
I seem to remember her being purple, and I seem to remember Lawson kind of having a thing for purple ladies. That's not in the comic book, by the way. But he does reveal, Darth Maul does, he puts it all right out there. He puts his cards on the table when he says he thinks Lawson is a man of honor and intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just as simple as that. I think he, again, with that first episode in the back and forth between Rook Cast and Darth Maul about the visions he was having. Yeah, specifically the visions were about finding a Padawan or an apprentice. In this case, when you're talking dark side, you don't call them Padawans. They would be insulted by that. But I think that Maul has been having lots of visions, and I think those visions are guiding him. I would love it if we had a moment in one of these episodes where maybe we could get into his head and go on a dark side vision with Darth Maul. It might explain a little bit about him. But for now, he's keeping all that to himself. It maintains a lot of mystery about the character. And he's clearly working in the shadows right now. But as far as his connection to Lawson, it could be a tremor in the Force. I don't think there's any past history between the two men, even if Lawson and Maul themselves don't even really realize it. I don't think that they've crossed paths prior to this. And there's been no evidence that Darth Maul had ever been to Janix before. And there's no evidence that Brander Lawson has left Janix recently at all. I mean, he has a kid. So he has roots that keep him, I think, close to home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's touring the galaxy. Maybe he did in his bounty hunter years, but for now, I think he is permanently Janix bound. He has responsibilities. He can't even go home and have a cup of coffee for 2 seconds without them paging him, telling him, "Oh, you got to come to the PD. You got to come to Sector 31. You got to go." I
he
think
can't
that's
even
a Star
enjoy
Trek.
a simple. What's the name of that sport that he's playing in this thing?
Bodekin.
It's what is it?
Or Bodekin.
Yeah, it's got some EU roots to it. 90s
It
EU
does?
roots, apparently.
It
This
does?
particular sport. Yeah, that's what
I don't ever recall hearing it brought up, but maybe it's the new EU. So,
maybe.
I don't. You know,
I thought it was old school, like, well, not old school EU, like 90s. If you know in the chat, please chime in. We've got Matt from Utah. He's on the line. He wants to talk about maybe tying this into the Son of Dathomir comics. Matt is also a Patreon. Matt, thanks for waiting and thanks for supporting us on Patreon.
Hey, Jason and Jimmy, chut. So to prepare for Maul, I did a Maulathon. That's what I called it. I watched all of the Clone Wars Maul episodes. And I also read the Son of Dathomir comic that takes place right after season 5, the Lawless. That's where, so kind of what happens, it shows Maul, he breaks out of prison, the Mandalorians get him, and Gar Saxon, he talks about how he recovered the dark saber from the duel that Maul had with Palpatine, and he gives it back to Maul. So in the course of the comic, he has the dark saber in his possession, and he also teams up with some Zabrak warriors. Mother Talzin sends them. So I wonder if that kind of explains some of the connection, why he has Icarus and Scorn with him. So I would just be curious to get your guys' thoughts if we're going to see the dark saber in Maul Shadow Lord.
So canonically, are you saying, Matt, that canonically right now Maul has the dark saber?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, because Palpatine never had it. It stayed on Mandalore. Gar Saxon found it, gave it to Maul. So yeah, he would have it.
He's got
in
it
the drawer or something.
And he's got Root Cast still following him around. He's got that other Mando following him around, and these two Zabraks, you're saying they could be leftovers from these other Zabraks that Mother Talzin sent his way.
Yeah, they could be remnant guys, and I wonder if he still has the dark saber, if that's why some of those Mandalorians, if why they're kind of still
following him. Yeah,
leadership of having.
Cool.
Yeah,
good thoughts, man.
So I wonder if that's going to pay off, or if they're just going to stick with him having the double bladed.
Well, no, it's a good thought. Thanks for that. And Jim, I don't know if we need another Star Wars series to start talking Mandalorian lore and Darksaber and all of that. Canonically, if it's there, now it's going to bother me. Like, it's there. Why aren't we seeing it? Why aren't we dealing with it? But at the same time, I don't know that I want it.
Yeah, he's got it in a bank deposit box. It's somewhere in a vault in Janix somewhere. He's not going to use it. I don't think so, but you're right. The canon is there. The possibility of him using it will remain throughout the rest of the series because he clearly has it by the time we catch up with him in Rebels. He clearly has it. So, yeah, where has it been these first 4 episodes? And is it necessary? I'd like to think it isn't. I am dark sabered to death. I might be one of the rare fans who was happy to see it get destroyed in season 3 of The Mandalorian. I was happy to see it get destroyed. It's too much of a distraction. That silly blade. Oh, look what I have. Everybody worship me now. Come on. I mean, these guys are supposed to be a warrior society, and they're just, their loyalties shift with the wind depending on who's holding this specific weapon. Yeah, that's weak sauce.
Yeah, it's not a great way to choose your leaders necessarily.
No, there's no substance to that.
Let's see. We got Eric from Phoenix here. Let's see if there's any substance to Eric from Phoenix's observations this week. There often are. So, Eric, thanks for waiting. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Now there's pressure because it's got to be substantial. I guess.
Yeah, we're holding
But,
you to a very high standard. Yes.
Yes. Well, hopefully I don't disappoint you. But the two things that in my head that I was somewhat concerned about before the series started was number one, that somehow they would make Maul sympathetic or a good guy or change some way, shape, or form who Maul is to the good. And I'm happy to say that through 4 episodes, 2 weeks, that couldn't be further from the truth. It's exactly like Sam Witwer said. He's bad and he's manipulative, but he's creepy calm and, trying to manipulate people while he's doing it. But when he needs to, he can go crazy and do the double-bladed saber. But I had legit concerns that they were going to do something to Maul or change who the character really was. And thankfully, through 2 weeks, they haven't done it. The other character is Devin. I got to be honest, a young female character. I was very nervous that she was going to be some type of girl boss or annoying, and that's not just because she's a girl. Anytime you bring kids into Star Wars, a young person into Star Wars, I just was nervous about that. And that character of Devin, she has been excellent. The writing for her has been excellent. The actress playing her has been excellent. Even the animation, like the scenes where she's with Maul, and you can get her what's going on in her head. You can hear it in the dialogue, but you can also see it in the animation in her face and kind of how she's trying to deal with what Maul's putting in front of her. And I think it's been very well written. I think the timing has been done really well. I mean, Jim, you already mentioned, I think you mentioned where you think this is going with her master. And I think personally that's going to be the Empire killing her master, which then, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Then that helps her align with Maul because she sees him as a means to get revenge or take care of the Empire because they're bad. She's not going to see it as revenge, but because they're bad and we need to do something. And that's how he gets her. But anyway, those were two major concerns I had before the series started. And I think they've just done a great job with both those characters.
Couldn't agree more. Both points. Absolutely. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I think Devin, because this show does so focus on Darth Maul and he has every 30 seconds, there's this like reveal of another great close-up of Maul that it's kind of hard sometimes to focus on another character in the show. And when you just watch Devin, her dialogue, the performance, everything, really, really solid. There's nothing unlikable for me right now about Devin. I totally relate to her, understand the situation that she's in, and yeah, great character, great addition. In fact, I was just thinking about, getting an action figure of Devin, thinking, that'll be kind of nice to have her and Maul, and so.
Of course. Well, I'll tell you what, there's a certain low-key nature about her too, where it doesn't seem forced. You feel that she's going through a lot, and she's not overpowering her way through these tough situations.
Bingo.
There's nothing that they're trying to say about her, like, this character is special.
Yeah.
And she can do no wrong.
Yes.
They're not.
Yes. And she's good at everything.
Right. I'm not feeling that. Nor am I feeling like, she has this certain sort of destiny for greatness or anything like that. Now, Maul obviously sees a lot of potential in her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's resistant to him all the way. So if you want to draw the comparison between a master and apprentice, and you look at, I'm going to the sequel trilogy, and I'm looking at Luke and Rey. It's the exact mirror opposite of what's going on here with Devin and Maul, because Rey was really gung-ho to get trained in the ways of the Jedi, and Luke didn't want to train her at all. Flip the coin over and you have Maul and Devin. Maul is real gung-ho on training Devin in the ways of the dark side of the Force, and Devin doesn't want to have anything to do with it. So it's kind of a parallel there if you want to look at it that way. But I like the fact that Devin is resistant to Maul, and she's not doing anything to try to impress him, or at least as of right now. And she's just fighting for survival. This is what I always pictured Jedi doing after Order 66, as they're fugitives on the run.
Mm-hmm.
This is almost a perfect depiction of what I always assumed the Jedi on the run were facing, as far as the stakes, the adversity, the challenge of being a fugitive. This is what it looks like. And I think the Maul show is showing that off perfectly. You know, when Order 66 went down, it wasn't just snap your finger and all the Jedi get wiped out. They were scattered across the galaxy.
Yes.
And it takes probably the entire dark times period of the timeline between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy for the Empire to hunt down all those Jedi. And
somewhere I heard a number, Jim. I heard a number that there were, this could be reference material, it could be comics, whatever, about 10,000 Jedi throughout the galaxy.
At the time of the Clone War.
Yes, at the time of the Clone Wars, right. And we know that their ranks were thinned because of the Clone Wars. That's yes, for sure. And Order 66 took out a lot of them. And I too have been guilty of this. Wait a minute, you mean Luke's not the only Force sensitive person by the time we get to Episode 4? Like I've found myself doing that and saying, wait a minute, we've got another Jedi and another Jedi and another Jedi. But yeah, I mean that's the way it was. Vader and the Inquisitors did a great job of purging them from the galaxy, and they are, as Ben Kenobi says, all but extinct. He doesn't say, and they're completely extinct. He says all but extinct, meaning there is a few, but all but extinct. So for lack of a better word, extinct.
This is a conversation I had recently on the official RFR Facebook group. Who are the Jedi then that are still kicking around the galaxy during the time of the original trilogy? Who are they?
Ahsoka Tano would be one.
Who walked away from the Order.
Asajj Ventress would be another.
Oh yeah, Asajj. Again, not part of the Order proper. So
well, I'm not okay. I mean, you're
no. Hey, I'm
not talking about necessarily those who raised or got to the level of anything, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master. I'm talking about someone that would have experience in actually using the Force.
But you can't really use the Force that well during the course of the original trilogy. And they never really make that clear enough, I don't think. But Luke is like super powered for a Jedi of that era. And he can barely use the Force when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's all very fresh for him. Ahsoka walked away from the Order. Ventress was never part of the Order once she got taken away when she was a kid. And Yoda might not have any knowledge of them. He probably has knowledge of Ahsoka being out there. Ezra's in a different galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's about as many as I can name off the top of my head. We have no knowledge of Inquisitors being active during the time of the original trilogy. So I tend to think that they were all killed off, except for Merrick, who somehow survives. But
no, I guess the point that I was trying to make is that every time new Star Wars comes out and we introduce a new Force sensitive that's lurking around after Order 66, fans get up in arms and start talking about, oh my God, this is just continuing to dilute. But the specialness of what they find in Luke Skywalker. And I'm just saying, I myself have subscribed to that opinion over the years here and there, but I'm getting to the point where I understand it better. And I know that, like you're pointing out, despite the new media coming out and us being introduced to new characters, at the end of the day, when you get to Episode 4, A New Hope, as you put it, there are very few out there. That's all.
And it'll, some people cut themselves off from the Force.
Right.
You can do that. You can just turn it off and become a regular person. It's like when Superman walks into that thing on the Fortress of Solitude, and it blasts him with Kryptonian rays, and he becomes a human. And then he takes Lois Lane out to the diner, and some guy beats his ass. Think about that. That's Superman 2. So the first place he goes to as a normal guy, Clark Kent, he gets his ass whooped.
Yeah.
He has no business not being Superman. He can't even go to the diner without causing a scene.
All right, let's check in with a regular here on our after shows, but the first appearance on Maul Shadow Lord after show. You know what I'm talking about.
It's time for Blake's Take.
Blake. Oh my gosh, were people asking about you? Where's Blake? What does Blake think about Maul Shadow Lord? So we couldn't wrap up the show before we heard from you. Chut. And what are your thoughts so far? 4 episodes in, 40% of the way through.
I know. I actually like the show. It's a little wild. I like it. It's enjoyable. It's got good characters, but another part is you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's a little bit out there with some stuff.
Hey, sir, would you mind putting Kid Blake on the phone, please? Can we talk to Kid Blake, sir?
I have him somewhere else. He's not here.
No, it's Teen Blake, ladies and gentlemen. Teen Blake. We've seen him grow up. Been calling the show since the Rise of Skywalker. So, no, I don't mean to cut you off, Blake. I'm always just fascinated in how your voice drops with each new after show. And it's like, most kids, they chart their progress. They stand up against the door jamb, and then they make a little mark on the wall. It's how tall they are. With Blake, we've been marking his growth by just taking his calls here on the after show for the last 7 years. So that's pretty unique. I don't know too many kids who can say that.
I mean, because by the time Starfighter's trailer comes out, I'm going to sound like a grown man.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, totally. We'll send you some manscaping equipment and stuff like that, and you'll be just like me and Jason. Well, just like Jason. All right, Blake, let's get down to business here, and let's hear what you have to say about the Maul show.
Okay, so I know I said it's hard to predict, but I have a good prediction. I mean,
all right, this
is like spot on, okay?
All right.
And I don't know what any other caller said besides the one in front of me. I was at a baseball game, so I don't know if someone has already said this.
All right. Well, we'll let you know. So you go.
Okay. So first of all, this is going to be like a pretty obvious one. I bet someone definitely said it. Vader is going to show up in this show easily, without a doubt. But I think that Maul and Vader is going to be awesome fight. We're going to watch them fight, and Master Diki or Dooku, whatever,
Daki,
like however you say it. He's gonna come in to save Maul. Okay, he's gonna come into the fight and try to save Maul. But Vader is gonna kill him. He's gonna die, and Devon is gonna be there and just watch it happen. And that's how she ends up like joining Maul, like accepting and wanting to follow him because she wants revenge.
What? Okay.
And Maul,
I'm with you.
Really
Hold on. I just got to jump in. I'm with you, but tell me why Daki would want to save Maul.
Because him and Maul, he's not going to let someone die. I mean, he's a Jedi. Jedis don't just like let's say Anakin and Palpatine are fighting, like just having a lightsaber duel. You're going to save the one who's more on the good side a little bit. And Maul's more on the good side. He's like not a full Sith and he's not a Jedi. He's just walking the path. He's in between. And so he's going to save Maul. But he's not going to save Vader. I mean, Darth Vader, who would save him? He's big, scary, and breathes heavy.
Okay. All right. So prediction 1 here is that Daki is going to die at the hands of Vader in front of Devon. Since you said Devon, I'm going to say Devon.
Yeah, but Maul's going to, but a main reason why Daki's going to, save Maul is because Maul, his lightsaber gets tossed somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And he's defenseless. He has nothing to protect him. And so that's why Daki comes in and just saves the day like an epic superhero entrance, but Vader just turns off the lightsaber and turns it back on and he's dead. It's a dramatic effect.
Wow.
But,
it's very visual.
It'd be wild.
Very visual. All right. In addition to that, it sounded like you were going somewhere else after Devon turns to the dark side, having witnessed her master's murder at the hands of the Dark Lord Vader.
I didn't have anything after that.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, well, I like this prediction. We all, everybody is placing their bets on how Daki is going to get it. Some say it's going to be an Inquisitor. Jimmy Mack seems to think, the guy's so old a fly could land on his nose and he could just disappear into the Force like Yoda. You're saying that Darth Vader is going to take him out. Some think that Maul's going to kill him. Some think that even Devon might kill him. So lots of theories on this, but Blake, thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate it. Always great to hear from you, and we look forward to hearing more from you if those baseball games would just cooperate, and we'll hear from you.
Oh, I know. I have one every single day this week.
Oh, my gosh. Well, what position do you play?
And on Saturday. Right field.
Right field. I don't know what that means.
I'm the best right fielder ever.
All right.
But I'm sure it's great. All right, Blake. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. As
Thanks,
always.
Blake.
Okay. What else we got? All right, we got time for one more. Let's do this one more real quick. This is a brand new caller from all the way from Florida. He's been very patient. And Jim, apparently he's been listening to some old RFR roundtables. So,
cool.
Kyle, you're on with Rebel Force Radio. Thanks for hanging on.
Hello there.
Hello.
I think I have discovered a time machine.
Really?
And it is through these old Forcecast podcasts that I've been listening to for the past year. I have been listening to this little podcast called the Forcecast that Jason and your old good friend Pete used to do. Because I'm currently in 2008.
Oh my goodness!
And I think that this is such a perfect time. I think this is so cool because I am literally, the episode I just listened to was the first episode that Jimmy showed up on to discuss the upcoming Force Unleashed video game release.
Wow.
And I believe Jimmy was about to play it on his Wii.
And look at him now. I mean, he's playing them all. He's on Steam or something now, right? Are you on Steam?
Right. Yeah, I do PC now. I still have that Wii, though. Everyone had a Wii back then.
But I understand you were listening to the roundtables and maybe got some Maul theory.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just think it's just really cool that you guys have been doing it for this long and that we have, I mean, if we look at 2008, we're talking about it all coming together, the Clone Wars series coming out, Force Unleashed out, the beginning of Sam Witwer showing up at Lucasfilm. And I'm very excited to see where this show is going. I think that is, I mean, it's kind of too early to tell, but like it is one of my favorites of the animated series, even though I love them all. I mean, from what was the last caller mentioned, like with Vader, I don't think he is going to show up because I feel like there's a lot of hesitancy when it comes to these animated series and how much they utilize some of the other characters. Like
There's
Bad Batch
restraint.
barely utilized any.
They have restraint, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They don't want to just have these characters. And Darth Vader can't be showing up every week on a series to lose. That's certainly something that Filoni told us a long time ago. They don't want that. Yeah.
But I do wonder, this is one thing that I'm starting to think about, is they brought Ventress back for a reason. I don't think that she was brought back just, willy-nilly. And I do wonder if what we're seeing with Maul possibly gaining Devin as his next apprentice, we could maybe see a possible team up with Ventress and her apprentice against possibly Palpatine. And somehow that could be how Ventress factors back into the story. Obviously, the Dathomir connections, obviously, the Savage Opress connection.
Yeah,
But,
I like the idea of Ventress being this
wonder-
kind of wild card out there that has some real relevance to Maul and his background and all of that. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well, thanks, Kyle. I appreciate
Well,
it.
I want to hear from the caller. I want to hear from the caller. What do you think the outcome would be of a showdown like that between Palpatine versus Maul and Devon or Devin and Asajj and her apprentice?
I would think that it would probably amount to Palpatine believing that one or both of these characters are dead. And I don't know if that means that they do like a fake out or if that means that somehow maybe, Devin dies and you see like a situation where there is, some type of one character gets away, sacrifices themselves for the other, kind of like going back to that General Grievous episode where like Kit Fisto's Padawan dies and then he has to like run away. But like, I feel like one of the main goals of this series might actually be Palpatine, because that is where Maul is kind of directing a lot of his anger and revenge towards. And that's where I think it might be going. But right before I leave, I will say that my favorite part of your guys' Force cast are the Billy D quote of the week, as Toussaint Dubois in General Hospital Night Shift just had to throw that out there, and I can't wait to listen
Maybe
to
your
more.
clown needs a friend. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those are the old days.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you very much, Kyle. Appreciate it. Great looking back on some classic bits there on Rebel Force Radio history, formerly known as the Forcecast, many moons ago. But this has been a lot of fun looking at these episodes of Maul, Shadow Lord. Thanks to all of our callers and the super chats. Still got a few of those, but before we do, I feel so bad. Last week that we ended the show without checking in on Jimmy Mack and his final thoughts. What was I thinking?
You did seem to be a little lost there with how to end the show. It's like,
I sure did. Well, the technical difficulties were just really throwing me, but
this is true.
We got them all fixed this week. And Jim, I can't wait for your final thoughts. Lay them on us, please.
Well, I just have a few observations that we didn't get to during our conversation, but right out of the gate, we got some information via the audio track, the descriptive audio track, where they revealed Maul's hideout is an abandoned rail station. So I was wondering the whole time, what is this place that Maul's hanging out in? I guess it's an old railway station, kind of in the same vein as the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor in Superman. He was hiding out in an abandoned subway station, and Maul is hiding out in an abandoned rail station. Yes, Mr. Luthor. Too bad Maul doesn't have an Otis. I think that would be hilarious if there was that kind of chemistry going on in the show. But instead of an Otis, Maul has Spybot. Who once again, now we're 4 episodes in, and we just got Bushki Dude again. And it was interesting once, but really annoying the second time. Bushki Dude has already jumped the shark. I'm saying it right now. And now I'm going to have to deal with the future of clever Star Wars fans running around saying Bushki Dude. I don't think that's going to reflect well on the reputation of fandom in general. So I am dreading more Bushki Doo. Sorry, but I am. It's like fingernails on a blackboard to me. And 2 out of the 4 episodes, we got Bushki Dude. So the Bushki Doo-o-meter is at 2 right now. How many Bushki Doos will they fit into the first season of Maul Shadow Lord?
Oh, these guys are just picking nits. That's all they do is pick nits.
Bushki Doo, pal. Bushki Doo you. Maul's Mandos don't have jetpacks. What's up with that? How come Rook Cast and the gang don't have jetpacks? Where, they lose them? They get destroyed during the Siege of Mandalore? Or do they just choose not to use them? Like, maybe they're bad at using them. Did anybody ever think about that? We just assume that all these characters have the same skills and abilities, but that might not be the case. I love the shot of the Star Destroyer arriving at the end of the episode, kind of capturing those vibes of the opening shot of A New Hope when we see a Star Destroyer for the first time and it just goes on forever and ever again. Some of these shots were framed to kind of capture that vibe and make the Star Destroyer seem huge as it arrived. And we're certainly going to feel the impact of the Empire on Janix next week. I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks for everyone who listened and called in live. We love you guys. You're the best audience of Star Wars fans that we could ever ask for. And we always have a great time with you guys every week. Puff a Pig, not in this episode. But he's here with me.
All right. Also, huge thanks to Tyler Page. Tyler, thank you, buddy. Always appreciate the work that you do. Busy switchboard tonight. I think we got to everybody, though.
Yeah, I think we did, very busy.
Anything you want to say about these 2 eps?
Yeah, real quick, you brought up that kick to the knee. And it brought back memories, I feel like, from the Roundtable days where you guys compared, I want to say Rebels Roundtable, though, where you compared Maul to Captain Ahab in Moby Dick. Because I feel like Pegleg is just always bothering me. Yeah. And it's important to remember who he's getting revenge against. And here it seems like it's Palpatine, but ultimately it has to be, Obi-Wan. And then I don't know what's going on with that kid, Lawson's kid. I don't know why we're still including him, but that's got to play a role.
Got to be something in here for that, I mean, how terrible was that? He right when he scored the big goal, Dad was gone. Lost. What is with Star Wars and these deadbeat dads?
All right, I have predictions. There's 2 reasons why this kid is being featured in the show. He's A, going to get kidnapped, or B, he's going to be used to lure Lawson into a trap.
Yeah.
So one of those 2 things is going to happen. Maybe both.
That tracks for me.
All right, Tyler. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it very much. And that's going to wrap things up for us here this week on the Maul Shadow Lord After Show. As Jimmy Mac mentioned at the top of the show, no weekly Rebel Force Radio this week, but we'll be back next Tuesday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and taking a look at the next 2 episodes of Maul Shadow Lord, episodes 5 and 6. And then later that week, we will have another weekly Rebel Force Radio, because Maul ain't the only thing going on in Star Wars. No way. Other stuff to talk about. All right, that'll be it for us this week. Thanks again to everybody for hanging out with us over the last couple of hours. Great time. And we'll see you next time. For Rebel Force Radio, I'm Jason.
And I'm Jimmy Mac.
And remember,
the Force will be with you, always.
Booshki-doo! See how annoying that is?